Hi everyone. For this video, I am going to be discussing conception. No, I wouldn't even really consider it luck. Um, I did conceive Silas on the first try, but I wouldn't call me lucky. It's not just, we were actually trying it to get pregnant, but it did take a lot of work ahead of time, if that makes sense. So what that means is even though, look at this, even though I got pregnant the first try, before we were trying, I was prepping my body and getting myself ready. So that way it was perfect. And as you can see, I have my really crappy wig on. Yeah. Okay, so back on topic. So, these are the things that I recommend if you are trying to conceive. Number one, what you want to do is you want to make sure you are obviously off of birth control. Birth control can, even if you get off of birth control, depending on how long you were on it, the hormones can stay in the hormones can stay in your system for up to a year after you've gotten off of it. So if you are planning on trying to conceive here in a few months, but you've been on birth control for the past 5 to 6 years or 3 to 4 years or whatever, my advice is to get off of it as soon as possible. Some women have amazing luck with that and get off of birth control and get pregnant right away. Some women, it takes them years afterwards, even if they are just on birth control for a couple of months. So everyone is different. Every body is different. So the way that, for instance, for me, I can't take hormonal birth control because if I do, it gives me ovarian cysts. So I have actually been off of birth control since 2011. So luckily I didn't have any problems with that, but I have seen women who are extremely fertile get pregnant almost right away. They get on birth control after that baby. They're on birth control for about 2 to 3 months. They decide they want to get off of it, and then they struggle to get pregnant for a year or two. So get off of birth control, number one. And just keep in mind that if you've been on birth control for, even if you haven't been on birth control that long, you always have to keep in mind that it could take a while. After ending the birth control, your body, it could take a year or more. It could take 6 months. It could take 2 days to get pregnant. Everyone's different. Don't get discouraged. Don't give up. So there's that. The second thing you want to start doing is you want to download a period and ovulation tracker app. And the one that I personally use is Glow. And I used this before I got pregnant with Silas to track my periods so I would know when I ovulate. And I also used it because they also have Glow Baby, so they have it during pregnancy as well. So basically what you do is, I'll show you what the app looks like. It's going to look like this down here, okay? Yes, I have Pokemon Go on my phone. But yeah, so you download Glow app, and it'll ask you all these prompts. You make sure you just answer things honestly, and everything like that. And what you're going to use that app for is obviously to track your cycles. It has this really cool, you'll just have to mess around with it, but basically you will put in the first day of your period and every day that you're bleeding, obviously, and it will predict when you're going to ovulate depending on your cycle length. Now, because every woman is different, obviously, there are certain things that come into play as far as it could take some women longer to get pregnant than others. So the average cycle is 28 to 35 days. And in order to get pregnant, if you're trying to get pregnant and you want to plan out your pregnancy and you want to plan everything, you need to understand the woman's cycle. So the average cycle is 28 to 35 days. And that is from day 1 of your period to day 1 of your next period. So that is a complete cycle. Now, even after I had my miscarriage with Arrow, my body quickly got back on track. It did take about 3 to 4 months for it to get back on track, but compared to some people, that's pretty good. So my periods are pretty normal. They're usually around 28 to 32 days. But since having Silas, obviously my periods are all over the place. It can take up to a year or more to regulate after having a baby. But basically, the average cycle, like I said, is 28 to 35 days. Now, some women's cycles vary. So some women can have shorter cycles. Some women can have longer cycles. What that means is that the shorter your cycle is, the shorter your ovulation period is. So meaning that you ovulate much quicker after your period than some people do. If your periods are much longer, then it'll take you a little bit longer to ovulate. So what is normal for one woman may not be normal for another woman, so to speak. What's normal for me may not be normal for you. If my period goes over like this time, I was freaking out because my last period came at exactly 28 days. So I was like, oh yay, it's finally back on track. And then this period didn't come until 35 days. And so I was like slightly freaking out because that's not normal for me. My periods usually come a lot quicker. But what you need to know is that a woman ovulates 13 to 15 days after the first day of their period. Not the day that your period ends, it's the first day of your period. You will count about 14 days. It's about 2 weeks. So the app will track that. It will go ahead and predict. It'll be like, okay, so her cycles are an average of 28 days, which means that she should ovulate about 14 days after the first day of her period. And it'll show you on the app of your most fertile days. And so basically what you want to do is you want to download the app and you want to start tracking your cycles for months. So you get a better idea. You get to know your body a little bit more. You'll start to notice things. You'll start to be more in tune with your body. You'll notice that sometimes around your ovulation time you'll feel a little bit different, such as your boobs might be a little bit more sore. You may start cramping. You want to be in tune with your body. You want to get to know your body because the quicker you get to know your body, the more successful you are going to be at conceiving. Now, some women can just have sex willy-nilly and get pregnant. I wanted my pregnancies to be a little more planned out. That's also one form of birth control that me and my husband use is that I know that if the weeks that I'm ovulating and we try and steer clear and do the necessary things that we need to do to prevent getting pregnant. So the more you know about your body, the more control you have over the situation. You can prevent yourself from getting pregnant, and you can also try and get pregnant. So it got to the point to where I knew the app was accurate because I also bought a pack on Amazon of, it's an ovulation kit pack. So it was ovulation tests, and it also came with a basal body temperature thermometer. And what that means is that is your resting body temperature. The reason that is important is because your body temperature will raise a degree or two after you've ovulated. Not the day you're going to ovulate, but after you've already ovulated. So, I don't have everything to show you because I have it packed away. Obviously, me and my husband are not trying to get pregnant anytime soon. So I will go ahead and show you the things that I used by searching my Amazon list. And this may take me a minute. I should probably get a little bit more organized. Let me bring it up on the computer. So the brand, if you go to Amazon, type in Wagon Predictive Basal Thermometer and 50 ovulation test strips. So it's $27.99, and it comes with 50 ovulation test strips and a basal body temperature thermometer. I also bought these conception vitamins, and this is also really good for prenatal care. If you don't want to do these, definitely start taking prenatal vitamins because you want your body to be completely ready just like the moment of conception. Here, you may be able to see it a little bit better. It's Conception, Inocytal, and Vitex. It's a female fertility and prenatal capsules, and there are 60 in here. And it's just basically got a whole bunch of vitamins and herbs that help a woman become more fertile and help her conceive a lot better. So I bought this, and I honestly didn't use this for very long before I got pregnant. I still have, like, out of the 60 capsules, I probably have about 45 left in here. That's how quickly it worked. Now, I'm not saying that these are miracle pills because, like I said, you also want to, it helped that I was tracking my cycle. I was taking ovulation tests daily, and I was tracking my body temperature. I also, have a very, regular period or regular cycle. So, that obviously helped. Obviously, I say obviously a lot, but my advice is not a cure-all, okay? I will go to say that, some people need extra assistance. Some people need extra hormones. Some people need, sometimes it's not even the woman. Sometimes the man has a low sperm count. Sometimes you have thyroid problems that can be keeping you from getting pregnant. There are a lot of factors that can contribute to conception and lack thereof, such as stress. If you're very stressed out, chances are you're not going to get pregnant. And it's not just about you. Your partner also needs to be taking care of himself, because if he is stressed out, you're not going to get pregnant. It affects the sperm count. Alcohol, you want to cut back on cigarettes. If you smoke, you want to cut back on alcohol, you and your partner, because it doesn't just affect you, it also affects your partner. His potency, his fertility. If he's a heavy drinker, his sperm count's going to go down. So you both kind of want to be on the same page. There are a lot of factors that contribute to conception. You want to make sure that you look after your body. So take care of yourself, exercise, eat healthy. It's crazy, but there are a lot of things that can contribute to people not being able to conceive. And things just as simple as maybe cutting out McDonald's, or, getting some extra exercise, or not drinking that glass of wine at night. Some people are very sensitive to stuff like that. I know one of my friends who personally, she had to get her thyroid checked, and I believe she said she was hypothyroid, and they gave her medicine to fix that. She got pregnant and then became hyperthyroid, and they had to give her different medicine, and now she's back hypothyroid. But I also know someone personally that spent 5 years trying to conceive, and did acupuncture for 2 to 3 months and conceived. It was a miracle. So there are a lot of things out there. There are a lot of things that can help. My advice, I'm not a doctor, so if you need extra things like hormones, obviously this video is not going to be of help to you, but For people just starting out, trying to get pregnant, hopefully my advice is a starting point and can help you get ready and help you conceive. And I will say that I do know 2 people personally that took my advice and they got pregnant successfully. So, like I said, download a period tracker app and you want to track everything. You okay, Bubba? You want to track everything. So it's so detailed, it's so thorough. It asks you if, like, on a daily, like, kind of make it a routine. At night, log your day, like, especially during your periods. So it's like, or basically any day. It's like you sit down, you go through your phone, and you're like, oh, okay, I'm going to log my day. Do it at the end of the day. It asks you things like how much, if you've had any alcohol, how much alcohol. It asks you, like, if you exercise. It asks you how long you slept. It asks you if you're stressed, if you had headaches, if you had cramps. Like, it asks, it's very thorough. And the reason why is because it's trying to get you to notice patterns. If you notice that, oh, okay, if you go back and look a couple months and you're like, every time I've experienced really bad chronic migraines, it's been during this week, during my ovulation week. So you kind of get to know your body better. So what I would do when I would log my basal temperature, and because it's your resting body temperature, do it first thing in the morning before you get out of bed to pee, before you do anything. I kept the thermometer on my nightstand, and the moment I would open my eyes, I would reach over, grab the thermometer, take my temperature, and I also noticed a pattern. Every morning I was consistently around the same temperature, and then right around ovulation, the ovulation time, I noticed that my temperature would spike up a degree or 2. So the whole point is to try to get your body, to get you familiar with your body so you know how your body works so you can effectively conceive. Your temperature, and I think I said this earlier, but your temperature will raise about a degree or 2 after ovulation. Now, sperm can live inside of a human body for 5 to 7 days. So what you want to, if you're just trying to get pregnant, you don't really care what the gender is. Now, I'll go into that in a different video because we're just going to focus on getting pregnant at this point. You'll hear a lot of people say, have sex all the time, have sex every day, have sex the whole week you're ovulating. And that's cool. Sometimes that works for people, but sometimes that actually stresses you out. That puts your mind, that puts your partner's mind in a state of stress to where you just can't conceive. So what they recommend is to have sex every other day, because sperm can live inside of your body for 5 to 7 days. What you really want to do is you want to have sex, like, if you're not going to have sex the day, so here is a tip. Let's say you haven't had sex your entire ovulation week, or the week that you're going to ovulate. You haven't had sex, and you're approaching the day that you're supposed to ovulate. You can have sex. Sex is awesome. But the chances of you conceiving the day you ovulate, like having sex and conceiving from like the day you ovulate, is very slim, because it can take up to 12 hours for the sperm to reach the egg. Once the egg starts making its descent down into the uterus, it's too late. The sperm will not fertilize it. The sperm has to fertilize the egg in the fallopian tube. So what I recommend is to have sex every other day, so you're not stressing yourself out, you're not stressing your body out, because believe it or not, your body is smart. Your body will start to notice something's different. It can throw everything off. Have sex like a couple of days before the ovulation, maybe the day before you ovulate, and maybe the day after. You can have sex all 3 days. But you always want to make sure you have sex the day before ovulation, because it can take 12 hours for the sperm to reach the egg, and you don't know exactly when you ovulate. You don't know if it's going to be 7 p.m. On your ovulation day, or if it's going to be 7 a.m. You want to have sex the day before you ovulate for sure. Now, people think that they can get pregnant all month. Like I said, there is only a very small window out of the month that you can get pregnant. That one ovulation week is the only week you can get pregnant, my dear. So, unless you've just got a wonky cycle and you ovulate more than once a month, or you have like irregular cycles and one's cycle's 28 days long, one's 35, one's 46, one's 17, like, as long as you have a very regular cycle, you can only conceive that 1 week out of the month. And you only ovulate one time a month. So even though you are fertile for basically a week, because like I said, sperm can live in a body for 5 to 7 days. So let's say you ovulate on Thursday, you have sex on Monday. There's still a chance that you can get pregnant because the sperm can live that long. So, yeah, I think I covered all of the bases. That is pretty much how I got pregnant with Silas the first time. I was tracking my cycles for months, so it got to the point to where I knew exactly the day that he was conceived, because I got up in the morning. Me and my husband had sex like the day before, and I had been taking ovulation tests pretty much daily the entire week I was supposed to ovulate, every single month, so I could get an accurate reading. And I took an ovulation test the day before, and there was like a faint line, which means the ovulation's approaching. And then that morning, I woke up, and I took my body temperature, and it was elevated, so it was a little bit higher than normal. It was a little bit higher than normal, and I also took an ovulation test, and the ovulation test was positive. And I took the ovulation test after me and my husband had sex, I guess, the day I ovulated, and I went into the bathroom like right after, took an ovulation test. It was positive. And when we found out we were pregnant and the doctor gave us the estimated due date, it showed us the estimated date of conception, and it was the exact day in my period tracker that said I ovulated. So it's crazy, but I'm telling you it works. So you want to download Glow Period Tracker app, and you want to be tracking that. Like, even if you're not trying to conceive, it's a good thing to have, because you can always, like, it helps you get in tune with your body. If you're not trying to conceive, it helps you, like, know, okay, I should probably steer clear of sex this week, and you can kind of try and, like, if your period's late, you'll know how late. It's just a really good app to have for every woman, you know? It's just to kind of get to know your body a little bit better. Definitely take prenatal vitamins, or these conception capsules are a little bit different than prenatal vitamins, but these are also good to take while you're pregnant. Get a good multivitamin. Cut down on the alcohol. Have sex like regularly, not every single day, because you don't want to be stressed out. You want to ditch the cigarettes. Take care of your body. Make sure you're not eating really crappy. You're getting enough exercise. Cut down on the alcohol. Get yourself on Amazon. Remember I said go to Amazon and get yourself some ovulation tests. Again, the brand is Wagon Predictive Basal Thermometer, and 50 ovulation test strips. If you just type in 50 ovulation test strips, it should come up, and it will also come with the basal body temperature thermometer. So that's really good to have, and just kind of do your research. Like, look up things about the cycle and just get to know your body better. So when you are ready to conceive, you know the exact day you're going to ovulate, you know the exact day your period's supposed to start. Yeah, I hope this helped for any of my friends who are trying to conceive in the near future. That is how I got pregnant with Silas in the first try, just by knowing my cycle, by tracking it, taking regular ovulation tests, getting a basal body temperature thermometer, and taking a decent vitamin, and obviously taking care of myself. If you have any more questions, feel free to message me. I will be making another video kind of on tips, like you can sway the gender, so I will make another video on gender sway. And if you have any questions as far as like good positions, like the actual act of conception, like the sex part, how that all happened, you can go ahead and message me on Facebook. You can text me, get a hold of me that way. But yeah, I hope this helped, and you guys are awesome. I will talk to you later.